Ambassador Zethkar adjusted his environmental suit's filters as the shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. The readings on his scanner made him shudder. Radiation levels that would kill most species within days, atmospheric composition that was barely breathable for civilized beings, and temperature fluctuations that defied logic. Yet somehow, impossibly, this death world teemed with life. Madness, he whispered into his communicator. The preliminary reports were accurate. This planet should be classified as a Class 3 hazard zone. The Galactic Council had been unanimous in their assessment 3 cycles ago. Earth, this blue-brown marble spinning dangerously close to a volatile star, was utterly unsuitable for intelligent life. The gravity was crushing, the weather systems chaotic, and the very ground shifted unpredictably. Most damning of all, the planet's moon was preposterously large, creating tidal forces that should have torn apart any developing ecosystem. The Council had prepared relief ships, expecting to evacuate whatever primitive survivors they might find. Instead, they discovered something that challenged everything they thought they knew about habitability: humans. The shuttle touched down in what the locals called New York, a sprawling metropolis that defied every principle of safe urban planning. Buildings stretched impossibly high into the toxic atmosphere, while millions of these humans moved through the streets below, completely unprotected from their hostile environment. Zethkar's first meeting with the human delegation took place in what they called the United Nations building. He had insisted on a sterile meeting room, but the humans seemed puzzled by his environmental precautions. "Ambassador," said the human representative, a female called Sarah Chen, "is there something wrong with our air?" Zethkar consulted his readings again. Oxygen at 21%, a concentration that would be toxic to most species. Nitrogen at 78%, with trace amounts of gases that his suit was filtering out as potential poisons. "Your atmospheric composition is aggressive," he managed diplomatically. Sarah laughed, a sound that made Zethkar's translator work overtime to convey the concept of deriving pleasure from his discomfort. "Wait until you see what we breathe at high altitude, or underwater. We've got equipment for both." That followed left Zethkar's worldview in shambles. They showed him humans living in deserts where the surface temperature could kill a Vexian in minutes. Others thrived in frozen wastelands where water turned solid, a phenomenon so rare that most civilized worlds had never witnessed it. Some humans had even built cities on the edges of tectonic plates, treating the ground-shaking earthquakes as minor inconveniences. "This is your idea of recreation?" Zethkar asked, staring at footage of humans deliberately leaping from aircraft, with nothing but fabric to slow their descent. "Skydiving, that's pretty tame," Sarah replied. "You should see our extreme sports. We've got people who surf tsunamis and climb mountains where the air is too thin to breathe properly." But it was their response to natural disasters that truly shook him. When they showed him historical footage of humans running toward collapsing buildings to save strangers, of volunteers flying into hurricanes to gather data, of entire communities rebuilding after their cities were flattened by earthquakes, Zethkar realized he was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. These humans didn't just survive their death world, they thrived because of it. "Your planet tried to kill you," he observed during their final meeting. "Every day," Sarah agreed cheerfully. "That's what made us who we are." She pulled up a holographic display showing human expansion beyond Earth. Mars, a frozen desert that should have been uninhabitable, now supported thriving colonies. The moons of Jupiter, bombarded by radiation that would sterilize most worlds, housed research stations and mining operations. "We've learned that the universe doesn't care about our comfort," she continued. "So we adapted. We got stronger, more creative, more stubborn. When your council declared our world unfit for life, we figured the universe had been trying to tell us that for millions of years. We just never listened." Zethkar thought of his own homeworld, carefully climate-controlled, with weather patterns managed by orbital platforms and natural disasters prevented by advanced technology. His people lived in perfect comfort, but they had never been tested, never pushed to their limits. "What will you tell the council?" Sarah asked. Zethkar looked out at the impossible city around them, at humans walking unprotected through conditions that would require his people to wear full environmental suits. Children played in parks where the gravity would cripple most species, laughing as they swung from structures that seemed designed to test the limits of physics. "I'll tell them the truth," he said finally, "that we found a species that was forged by the worst conditions imaginable, and because of that they might just be unstoppable." As his shuttle lifted off from the surface, Zethkar watched the blue marble shrink below him. The Council had declared Earth unfit for life, but they had misunderstood the fundamental relationship between world and species. Earth hadn't failed to nurture humanity. Earth had spent millions of years building the perfect survivors, and now those survivors were heading for the stars.